fixing to have to actually go put some clothes on.
I'm still recording, so you better watch it.
I come out of the shower for the meeting.
Hi, this is Dwayne from Modders Inc. And today we've got two guys on the panel with a special guest. First, we'll start off with our two regular guys that we always have. We've got Tony.
Hey.
And we've got Vic.
What's up?
And we've got a special guest I mentioned earlier, and it is Mike from Corsair. He will be joining us through the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. Some of your audience may actually know me better as Yellowbeard, especially if they surf internet forums. So, again, thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem. We're really appreciative that you came and spending some time with us. You know, let's get Mike into this conversation here because over at Corsair, since we're talking about tech cooling, they've actually got a tech cooling system set up for memory. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the Corsair Cooling ICE T30.
Yes, that's
right,
the right model name there, ICE T30, Subambient Cooling System.
So what is the whole purpose of this device? What is it supposed to do?
The really cool thing that it can do, no pun intended, is to cool your memory up to and right at 20 degrees below your ambient temperature. And the reason we say ambient there, that's important because once you go much more than about 20 degrees below your ambient room temp, you're setting yourself up for potential condensation. So we've actually designed a controller circuit to help limit the cooling to 20 degrees below ambient temp.
Oh, so it sits there and modulates it. And if it starts going below the 20 degrees, it'll actually back off on the cooling?
Yes, it does it through controlling the amount of power going to the tech.
Oh, sweet. Now, I noticed it's also got water cooling. I'm guessing that's because of the TAC. It's got to be able to remove the heat from that portion of it, correct?
Yes. One interesting thing is this whole cooling system is a natural progression of our Dominator DHX cooling for our memory. Basically, what DHX brought to the table was additional cooling on the inside of your memory where the ICs are actually bonded to the backplane on the printed circuit board. If I'm remembering my percentages correctly, you actually lose about 60% of the heat generated in a memory IC out of that backplane, not through the front of the IC there. So what we did was extrude that backplane with some extra copper out the top, and we're getting more efficient cooling there. And then we improved the outer heat sink to complement that. And there's a bit more information on our website under application note AN602 for those of you that want to read up on that more. So the natural progression there was to improve our first generation of DHX with DHX2. What that brought to the table was the top heatsink on the DHX memory modules now is removable. There's 3 Allen-headed screws there that come off, and that's how you bond the either version of our memory cooler there to it. We have a H30, which is just the water block for cooling the top of the memory, and then we take it a step farther with the T30, which adds the tech into the mix. So
right.
It's like I said, it's a natural progression. Once we started extracting more heat from the memory with DHX technology, we thought, well, what can we do with that heat? How can we remove it better? So we went with water, and then of course, not being satisfied, and all of the mad scientists that we have running around in our lab, somebody said, well, hey, let's put a tech on there. So somebody brought up the condensation point, so well, we can fix that too. So we came up with the controller circuit to monitor the humidity and prevent the condensation. So there you go.
The controlling circuit probably looks like it mounts into a empty hard drive bay. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, removing it with the water, the heat with the water, you're basically going to already have to have a setup made for water cooling, or do you also going to have available if somebody just wanted to buy this product to have the water cooling setup too?
You can buy our Nautilus cooling system to go with it if you just want a very simple, almost plug-and-play setup for it, or it will integrate into an existing water cooling loop easily.
Ah, nice.
What size are the barbs?
3/8 ID.
Okay, do you plan to offer optional barbs for the guys that run their half-inch?
We're looking into that. I don't know. A lot of people don't like the idea of a tubing adapter there, and
right.
The perception is that we didn't think about water cooling enough, or that we didn't think about our customers with half-inch. It just made sense because of our existing equipment that we have and what we thought was the majority of water cooling users using 3/8 ID tubing. Get the first one out there with 3/8 and see how it does. If there's demand, by all means, we want our customers to have the best selection. So we'll move on to half-inch or whatever we need to do from there. But this is our first foray into this type of product, so it's sort of our barometer for the future.
Now, this is made just specifically for Corsair memory. I mean, somebody couldn't take this and put it onto another set of memory, right?
It would take some ghetto engineering to put it onto another kit of memory, and I certainly won't go on record as saying it can't be done because there's a lot of creative guys out there.
Right.
But it's actually engineered to bolt right to the top of our existing DHX2 heat sinks.
Right. So the right thing to do is make sure that you've got the right memory, which would of course be the Corsair memory, and it would mount directly to it, and you're not going to have any issues. I mean, it's designed to work together.
Correct. The really flexible thing is, too, I don't know if you can really gather this from the picture, but if you'll notice the top mounting screws that actually attach the memory to the cooler setup there have a lateral movement side to side to adjust for the various memory slot spacings on different motherboards. So, we've
Right.
included that in the design, too, because if you had a rigid mounting system, good gosh, the amount of different motherboard patterns there are out there, you'd have to make 50 different coolers. So.
Yeah.
So you can put, one module, 2 modules, 3 modules, up to 6 modules attached to this?
Yes, up to 6.
Sweet. So let's move on to your new adventure that you got going on. Is kind of out of the blue, I thought, was a case. What brought this on? I mean, just an adventure into a new market, you think?
Well, definitely. We don't want to be a stagnant company. We don't want to just get by or to stay the same size year after year and be comfortable. We're definitely about we think we bring a really good, solid, enthusiast-based foundation to the computing world, and we thought about it, and we thought that we could make a case that would be the equivalent, level of quality and performance and value for our customers. That's just like our memory, just like our power supplies, just like our flash drives and our other products. It's our cooling products. We wanted to look into something and make sure we could do it, at a level that we thought represented Corsair, where we could improve it or, really make our mark on the industry. And I think we've done that with our first case.
I mean, especially coming out and having the quality, the craftsmanship, and the forethought on your first case. Some people come out of the blocks kind of stumbling, but it looks like you guys have taken a lot of the great stuff that's out there and used it and then tweaked it.
Oh, exactly. There's been I shudder to think how many hours we've actually put into this case overall. And I mean, there will never be a perfect case, I don't think, but we're trying to hit as close to perfect as we can on an enthusiast case this first time out.
We brought up in the last, I think, podcast with Bill was the grommets used for running the wires.
Well, what's actually cool about that, and I didn't realize just how neat that was going to be until I got a tooling sample here. I have a sample sitting on the table directly in front of me as we speak, but it's almost, I don't want to say impossible because that's not a good word to use, but it's very difficult to have bad cable management in this case because of the grommets and because of the placements of the hard drive mounting areas. You would really have to work to do bad cable routing in this thing, because of the location and the convenience of the grommets that we've got in there. And that's good for me because I get impatient with cable management. I just start grabbing zip ties and, more zip ties means better cable management for me. So, grommets are a savior for me. But.
I wanted to space a little bit on the cooling side of it.
Okay.
What's the capabilities in the stock form as far as fan mounts and whatnot?
I had a conversation with our product manager right before this just to bone up on some of the specifics. It comes with 3 140mm fans already mounted. One's right above the graphics cards and right behind the CPU where you would expect it to be. One is on the side of the hard drive cages, and it can be run with or without a cover that goes over it if you don't want that showing. And there's another that's in a bottom bay in the center of the in the center of the case directly in front of the power supply mount to pull cool air in from the bottom of the case and direct it upward through the case.
The construction of the case, is it all aluminum or aluminum steel? Or
it's an aluminum steel mix. The actual body of the entire case is steel. The front panel and all is a brushed aluminum. We debated, on weight versus strength and durability.
Well, if you get a chance, send an email to podcast@moddersinc.com for questions to Mike. Or you can go over into our forums and post up a questionnaire, and we'll see if we can get Mike to answer that for you. Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up here. Do like we normally do. You guys can come over to Modders Inc. Check out our website, please. We have all our RSS feeds. You can get the links to the podcast and see what our older podcasts were. And I hope you hopefully check out those if this is your first one. Well, Vic, you know what to do, man.
Modding, ain't it cool?
Thanks for listening. And remember, visit moddersinc.com and put new life into your PC.